Today we are hiking the Morrison Hiking Trail. I did this trail with Brooke years ago, and I have not been back since. So I'm excited to do it. It is a short trail though. It's only about 6 miles to where I plan to camp, and then another 3 miles from there. So it's only a 9-mile loop total. Because this is such a short trail, I was actually on the fence about whether or not I even wanted to do an overnighter or if I just wanted to do it in one day and then go home. So we will see. I am just going to take it one step at a time and then decide how I'm feeling, and if I feel like staying, I will. If I feel like going home, then I will. And that is the beauty of solo backpacking. You just do whatever you want. Overall, this trail, to be honest with you, is not that exciting. Once I get to the reservoir, that will give some nice views, but until then, it's just sort of a nice walk through the woods. Nothing to complain about, but it's February, so not a lot of green, just a lot of dead leaves and pine trees. I'm gonna be honest, I still don't know the difference between mountain laurel and rhododendron. But this trail is actually right next to the Tracy Ridge trail system, which I've been to probably a dozen times. I've only been here once, and that's because I just personally prefer Tracy Ridge. There's more hiking options, there's more camping options, but for some reason this trail seems to be more popular. People seem to come here more. I don't know why. I might be missing something. I don't know if it's because it's more accessible slightly. Holy smokes. I think I just saw black bear for the first time. The trail, black bear trail, goes that way, but I'm not supposed to go that way, so I'm gonna keep going this way. I feel like I need a haircut. Wind is just kind of blowing my hair. So if you're watching this video, there's like an 80% chance you know my wife. So go ahead and send her a message, text her, email her, tell her, give Josh a haircut. It doesn't matter when you watch this video. You could be watching this 7 months from now. You could be watching it 3 years from now. There's a really good chance that at the moment you are watching this video, I want a haircut. Still just walking through some rhododendron laurel, mountain dendron, rhododendron. There's a couple nice open spots in the forest that I know if it was summertime would just be all filled in with fern. Like all this stuff. Well, maybe not that. It is very drab because there's no green, but in the summertime, like 80% of this would just be bushes, or sometimes there's really nice fern. But this is nice too because it is. But this is nice too because it's. But this is nice too because it is. But this is nice too because it's not the inside of my house. I'm just hoping the sun stays out. It's pretty cloudy, so once in a while it gets overcast. But when the sun is out, it's super nice. When I pulled into the parking lot, it was 52 degrees. There's like 10-mile-an-hour winds that chill it down quite a bit. The low tonight is supposed to be in the mid-40s. But I think those are always wrong. Skewed on the warmer side, and so I think it's actually going to be colder than that. Should not be a problem. I brought my 30-degree quilt, which does pretty good. Trail. So I'm pretty confident this was a reroute. You can actually tell that there's a trail that goes that way. but for whatever reason they rerouted it this way, so I'm gonna go this way. Curiosity kind of makes me want to go that way, but I'm just gonna go this way. It is only 2:23, and at this pace I would get to camp before 3:30, which for me is way too early. So I'm just gonna take a break, maybe get a snack. Can you see my legs? Is that weird? My water bottle keeps squeaking and it's really annoying. We are headed downhill, which means we should be headed towards the water. I think I might be able to see it through the trees a bit, but definitely need to get a bit closer. This is when hiking in the shoulder season starts to pay off, because without the trees you can just see way further and you can see way more than you normally would. So in the summertime, if you're here, this is all just green leaves and you can't see through it, but I can actually see down to the water now, and it just gives a way more open view. So that's why I go to Tracy Ridge in either the late fall or the early spring, and why I am coming here in February. Makes certain parts of the trail kind of boring and drab, but it makes other parts of the trail way more open and give way better views than you normally would. So it's a trade-off. Walking up between these just giant boulders. It's always fun to see huge rocks. I don't know why. What is it about giant rocks that is so cool? Like, how old is this thing? When did that just pop up out of the ground? There's the water. Beautiful. Just kind of poking around, taking a break before I decide what I want to do. It is 3:47, so I would have a decent amount of time to set up camp and just kind of chill before it gets dark. It's always kind of cool when the water level's so low, because it's just like this big open beachy area. I'm gonna just go walk around a bit, look at some of the different sites, decide if I feel like staying or if I want to keep hiking and head home tonight. It's very interesting walking through this. It actually got softer than I would like, so I'm basically just walking through silt, mud. Oh god, mistakes were made. So I'll just kind of poke around. I think I'm gonna walk up towards Morrison Run a bit more and see what it looks like. See if there's any sites right along the creek that I might want to stay at. All right, I'm gonna turn around. I was hoping there might be some campsites up in here along this water, which there probably are further up, And I know if you follow the actual trail, eventually you get to a bunch of campsites along the water. But I decided to be dumb and just start bushwhacking. Ugh. So I'm thinking of staying at this spot, kind of right on the corner here. I'll have to walk a little bit to go get water, but that should be fine. The only thing that sucks about these campsites is they are so accessible by boat, and boat-in campers suck. This stuff, some random like crap in this tree, a bunch of like tin foil over there. Like, why do people think that's okay? Some backpackers probably do that stuff, but I would bet 99% of the time it's someone who hauls 500 pounds worth of stuff off a boat and then just leaves trash everywhere. Gonna fill up some water. I have a 2-liter water bag and a 1-liter bottle, so I think that's probably enough for the night. So if I fill up, I won't have to come back over here. I don't really ever talk about the gear that I have because I don't think most people care. But on my old Loggers Path video, someone actually did leave a really nice comment and ask about gear. So I'm gonna go over a couple of the things that I have. I'm not gonna spend a ton of time talking about gear. It's probably boring for most of the people that watch this, but if you're interested, you can watch. If not, then just fast forward a couple minutes. I'll timestamp it down below so you can just blow right through this. I will put a link to my lighter pack in the description, and if you go there, you can actually see the whole list of everything that I brought on this trip. But yeah, I'll just go through it really quick. So I use the Lunar Solo by 6 Moons Design for my tent. I really like this tent. It's fairly affordable. I actually got it used online a couple years ago and have been enjoying it. It's a 1-person tent, but it's fairly roomy inside because of the way it's cut. So I can actually have my whole sleep set up and then room over there for my bag, and I'm not a big person, so I'm only 5'9", maybe not even, and I'm fairly skinny, so I have a lot of room in here. But yeah, my quilt, this is a top quilt by Hammock Gear. It's the Econ Burrow 30. Unfortunately, they don't even make this quilt anymore. They started doing some weird stuff where they only make like more premium quilts, and they're all way more expensive. But yeah, I do like this quilt. It's a 30-degree down quilt. It's only like 22 ounces, I think. It's pretty sweet. The sleeping pad is the Nemo Tensor regular wide insulated. I actually have 2 of these. There's a like 2020 version and older, and then there is a, I think from 2021 onward, they started making it with a slightly higher R value, which means it's a little bit warmer. So I have 2 of them, and I'm using the slightly warmer one today. I bring 2 different pillows actually. This is the Thermarest compressible travel pillow or something, this small size, I think. It's definitely a luxury item. Most people that backpack probably don't bring an actual like foam pillow, but my stuff is light enough, I don't mind. So that is awesome. And then I also have the Nemo Philo Elite, which is only I think like 3 ounces, but I use 2 pillows at home, and so I like to have the flexibility to kind of, you know, swap one out, maybe put one under my legs, or sometimes if my sleeping pad is not flat, I will take this one and kind of stick it under here and maybe take some air out of it, and it helps create more of a level surface. So I just like to have 2 as an option. This is, I think, a rain jacket by Anti-Gravity Gear, maybe. It's been a while since I bought it, but I'm thinking that's what it is. It's kind of expensive for what it is, but it's kind of nice just to be able to throw on, and it's big enough I can put it over top of my Puffy. Speaking of which, my Puffy is the 4-class down MT100, I think. It's a pretty affordable down Puffy for what you get. The only thing weird about it is, I don't know if it's because it's European or what, but even the men's version has the zipper on the other side. So if you're a woman, it doesn't really matter, but for a man, you're used to your zipper being in your right hand, but on this one, your zipper's on the left side, which is kind of weird, but I got used to it. It doesn't bother me. My backpack is the Waymark through 40, so it's a 40-liter backpack. It's a fairly standard bag. It's got these pockets on the side that are nice and big. It's got this big mesh pocket on the back, but beyond that, it's fairly straightforward. It does have aluminum stays that go up and down the side here that create a little bit more support, and there is a hip belt pocket, but besides that, it's fairly straightforward. This is the Helinox Chair Zero that I like to carry. It's only £1. I also have the REI version of this. I like the Flex Light chair. That one's pretty good too, but I just prefer the way that the Chair Zero fits me when I'm sitting. My trekking poles are the Cascade Mountain Tech carbon fiber trekking poles. I used to have some random carbon fiber like Amazon things for years, and I used them. They're like $40, and then I accidentally left them at the trailhead when I went backpacking with my dad last year, at the end of last year. So I had to buy some new ones, and these are basically the exact same thing, and so they're fine. They're fairly budget friendly. If you want to know about anything, just ask me. Like I said, I will have that link to my lighter pack down below in the description, so you can actually see literally everything, including a bunch of small knick-knacky stuff that I don't really call out here. Okay, I am going to start getting some wood, get that done because I'm hungry and I want to eat, but I feel like I haven't earned it yet. Okay, it is a little after 6 and it is pretty dark now. You can see there's a little sunlight left, but it's too dark to see a whole lot without my headlight. All right, so dinner's gonna be interesting. I have some Shin Black Ramen. I love this stuff. And then I have a breakfast skillet from Mountain House, which I have a handful of these and I wanna use them up. And I like egg in my ramen, so I'm actually just using this for the egg, really. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have cut the wood right here where I'm trying to eat. Also, I used this rock to wipe mud off my shoes earlier. I didn't anticipate this being my dinner table. It is 8 o'clock and I feel like I am just now getting to relax between making dinner and getting wood and tending to the fire nonstop. This is why a lot of times I don't have fires when I'm by myself, because it's just too much work. It's almost 9:30. It is starting to get a little windy, so hopefully it doesn't get too cold. I can't trust the forecast on my GPS. It's just not good. It said that the current temperature was 50 degrees, and it is definitely colder than 50 degrees. And it also always lies to me about the chance of precipitation. So we'll see if I get rained on, because right now it says no precipitation until 11 a.m. and I don't really believe it. Regardless, it was a good day, nice night. Nothing left to do except lay down and go to bed. Hope I stay warm. Well, it is a little after 7. I'm still half asleep, trying to decide if I want to make hot coffee or just mix some cold coffee. It is quite overcast, but it's not raining and it's not windy. We only have 3 miles out this morning, so I can bang that out in an hour. Should be back to the car pretty quickly, be home before lunch. All right, it is about 7:40. I packed up most of my stuff. I just needed to get the last couple things and then shoved the tent in my bag. Decided to go with the instant coffee cold brew, which is actually not bad when your water is 35 degrees. Okay, I am all packed up, but before I leave camp, I'm actually gonna grab some of this random trash. I have a plastic bag, so I'm just gonna pick up some stuff and shove it in my bag. It's a short hike out, so I might as well clean up some of this stuff. Hiking up out of camp. I was gonna say on what I hope is a spur trail back to the main trail, but I blew right past it and I'm just hiking up some random trail. There were 2 or 3 people at one of the campsites in the campground last night, but I didn't really hear them. We were far enough away. I would never stay there in the summer though. I can only imagine how busy it is. It's a bunch of flat space all along here. A lot of camping options. It just started sprinkling. Hopefully that's all it does. I like all these little stream crossings. I'm not sure in the summertime how many of them are dried up. But this is a little bit more interesting than yesterday. Random pipe coming out of the ground that smells a lot like gas, like natural gas. This stream is super pretty. Lots of little cascades, mossy rocks. It just looks really nice. I don't know how much it flows in the summertime, but it's really cool. If I ever come to a camp and somebody's done this, I usually end up using it for firewood. And so if you do that and then come back to camp and you're like, yo, where's my tripod slash cooking thing slash seat bushcrafting thing I made? I probably burnt it. I feel like this could be a painting. Got a bridge here, bridge up there. All right, it is 9:20. I spent a lot of time just taking shots of the stream, moseying around, so a little behind where I thought I would be, but that's okay. I probably have like a mile left, so I'll still be back in the car probably at 9:45. Actually a fire ring on the other side of the creek here. If you were hammock camping, you could definitely make it work. If you're tent camping, there's probably room for a tent over there. That's cool. This whole area, it's like ancient, primordial feeling. It's giant old moss covered rocks. Finally feel like I'm climbing a little bit. Overall, this is a really nice trail. If I had to compare it to Tracy Ridge, which is right next door, I would say I personally like Tracy Ridge better, just because you have more options. It's not just basically a single loop. You have a little bit more flexibility with how you want to put together a path. But this is probably a more accessible trail, so if you are maybe a beginner hiker or a beginner backpacker, I think this is probably a lot more convenient. If you're from like the western side of Pennsylvania or maybe into Ohio, then yeah, I think this is a good option. Tracy Ridge is a good option. If you're coming from central Pennsylvania or eastern Pennsylvania, then I think you have a lot better options available to you that it's probably not worth driving a few hours to get here. There are way more options camping here than I remember from last time. Yesterday there really wasn't anything on the northern side of the loop. There's really no camping options until you get to the campground. But on the southern side of the loop, there's a decent amount of camp spots. Just look along the streams. Is that a shoe? Oh, come on, guys. There's no trash at the trailhead, so I guess I'm taking this home with me.